Welcome back to the Raised Hunting Podcast. And what you guys just caught me doing there was scrolling through because we've been doing some shout outs. And I want to do a shout out to this gentleman because Sean Wood wrote in and gave us a really good topic. So if you guys will do the same thing, we'll do the same. We'll give big shout outs. Once in a while, we might even give something away.
We also got Brian Daxon and Devin Yoder. Our boy Devin.
Devin
Yoder.
Yeah, and
kind of a
Brian, you said?
Brian, yeah.
Yeah, everyone is asking, what are we doing at this time of year to get ready for deer season? I mean, we're talking, can't see my own watch, May 18th, 19th?
18th. It's the 18th.
May 18th, all right. And so, start
June,
thinking deer.
July, August.
Oh, yeah, we got 5 months.
September.
I don't understand why it feels so much later in the year. To me, it doesn't feel like it's only May 18th still.
No, it feels like June or July.
Uh-huh.
Well, turkey season ended
But that was really
5 days ago.
That was really a really unfortunate thing to just do.
What?
We just counted out how many months until deer season.
What's wrong with that?
It would have been better in my head not knowing.
Oh, wham.
I think, was it New York maybe?
Still turkey season?
I think they just opened.
Yeah, Wisconsin, I think, is still rolling. A lot
Idaho's
of
still going to be
northeast.
open. So is Wyoming.
Idaho's still open too? When does theirs close?
31st.
Wow. I wonder when it opened.
It's a good question. I don't care about that part. It's open when I'm there.
Just in case. All right, but we're not talking about turkeys anymore. We've been talking about turkeys for weeks now. Now we're going to talk about some deer stuff, which brings up the first subject is seeing them suckers in velvet is fun. But, they're way early. But Nick and I saw a buck this morning is why standing right off the side of the road. He's looking at it. It's already had brow tines and, 8 or 10 inches of his main beam, something like that.
We saw one the other day with G2s.
Yeah, I know.
That's wild.
Yeah,
I'd like to go back and look at photos and see if that's normal growth. Or that seems fast to me.
I think it's got to be fast considering me and Dad over the course of the last 2 weeks of season, the amount of turkey season, the amount of deer we had coming up to us, the majority were bucks, and they all were already growing and everything. Some of them had the start of a split for their eye guard and their main beam. Not a single one was even close to going all the way up, having the eye guard G2 and past the G2 some. This buck he has G2 to grow still, but he had already started growing it, and his main beam was going.
Mr. Liss wasn't even to his eye guards yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I would say that one is early, especially because it wasn't like he grew. He's obviously ahead of all the others, but I don't think he's a huge deer.
I don't think that has any correlation to size, though.
When they're growing. No, I don't. I'm just saying that
he'll be one of those.
Some of them
July 4th, he's
fully
grown.
Yep.
So, all right, but what are some of the things that we're doing to get ready? Because we are doing some stuff besides taking inventory on these deer as they're starting to grow to see if there's someone that you can pick out who it is. Mr. Liss, Warren's talking about, we know this deer, and we know him because he's missing an eye. And he has kind of a weird configuration.
And he's got that scar.
And he's got a scar, and so you can tell that it's him. No doubt, even though he's only got
5 inches.
5 or 6 inches of antlers, we know it's him.
I think so. With these topics that we've gotten, the 3 guys that have sent in the majority of these, they're asking what we're doing preseason, what we're doing now. They've asked about food plots and stuff. They've asked about, so I think we'll just break it into 2. Would be what you're doing on a lot of your private or lease stuff, and then on land that you can do stuff with, and then on land that you can't do things with. So
yeah, and so Sean actually asked a few questions that I think we will put into that. Number one, though, I want to make sure, because I see this with the kids at camp, I see this with other hunters, is number one that what everyone should be doing right now, shooting your bow.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of one
you
more.
Should be shooting your bow all the time, but imperative now.
Yeah, and you want to be the guy that shoots 10 arrows a day, not 150 arrows the day before.
Yeah.
If you shoot 10 arrows a day, it kind of keeps you in the flow of things and keeps you going. And even with my shoulder, I've took my bow home and I've been shooting a little bit. I don't shoot a lot of arrows. I can't.
Especially with anybody that lifts.
Yes.
Anybody that works out. It's more important for you to be shooting frequently because things are going to change.
Right. But
for you two, it's pretty Warren, it doesn't seem like it affects him as much. correct me if I'm wrong. Like he'll lift and he might have some big differences every once in a while. It seems like with you, like a lot of times,
affects me a lot.
if you like change your workout, you're gonna have to go change your sight too.
Oh, I can't. No, I can't shoot my bow and lift. It
does change that much for you.
It doesn't. Yeah, I mean it changes as far as if I go a day where I'm fresh.
Yeah,
I'll be dead on, and then if I lift in the morning or whatever, usually I'm so fatigued that I can't hit the broadside of a bar.
I'm not talking about the fatigue because like you can plan your lifts around that kind of thing. Like, okay, I'm going to shoot before I go lift, but I'm talking like your muscle growth or when you're not lifting, when you shrink some or.
I think it's a combination.
Technically,
I think growth, fatigue, I think muscle memory, because I can tell you probably experienced it too. You don't realize it until you go to draw your bow and you can't. I mean, like not even close from a day of lifting is all it is. The next day you walk out and whoop, I mean.
That's why I don't understand how guys that say they lift super hard and shoot and lift every day. I'm like, if you're really lifting and shooting every day, you ain't lifting that hard.
Yeah.
Because
or you're not shooting that
when you really lift hard, like you can't go out and shoot your bow normal.
Unless like what I said, like if they were swapping, like if they're going to shoot and then they go lift afterwards. But if you're sore from the day before.
Yeah, no, I'm saying lifting before you shoot. If you lift even honestly though, if I lift really hard,
the next day,
2-3 days.
Yeah,
like that's why a lot during hunting season. One, we're hunting, but two, even when we get close to elk season, I don't like to lift in the last few weeks of August because I need to make sure I can hit something.
Yeah,
and I need to make sure that my bow is consistent. Right now, it's not that big of a deal. If I shoot one day and I shoot the next, and there's a 3-4 inch difference or whatever, I don't adjust anything because I know it's probably just me. And then I shoot again when I'm fresh. Like, and I keep notes. You know, I was fresh today, and I'll be good. But when I get close to season, I don't want to have a 3 or 4 inch variance, and I don't know how to avoid that other than I guess maybe I could just lift light.
Yeah.
And see, I've had to start doing that. So I used to lift to the extent of what you're doing now, and I can't do that anymore and still be able to. Number one, I can't lift it like I used to. I'm just not going to be able to do that anymore. So what I can do, though, and I have to because used to I could put away, I would like completely quit lifting during the entire hunting season, 3 months, September, October, November when we lived in Montana, and here it's more of a mid-September through December because we could be back in the tree even in December. But my point is that I've gotten to where I have to do a little something, but I just don't lift very heavy or do very like no like short reps and a lot of weight. It's a lot of reps, little bit of weight just to kind of keep the muscles warmed up and things like that. So I think people need to really pay attention because I know that it took me a little bit to figure out. You guys were fortunate enough that I could tell you, hey, this is what's going to happen. And when you lift weights, it's going to affect how you shoot your bow. Not that you won't be able to do it, but I was going back and forth with a sight, back and forth, because one day I was here, you know, and finally I realized, wait a minute, maybe this has something to do with what I'm doing outside of.
Especially if you do shoulders or something like that.
Yep.
It's going to have a huge effect.
Correct.
Point being, practice.
Shoot your bow.
Yeah.
Shoot your bow.
If you're going to venture on anything, if you're going to try a thumb release or you're going to try a back tension or something, if you're going to try either of those, I would start right now because you're going to need a few months to get
and you have a lot of, like, check around. You have a lot of your 3D shoots are going to be opening, if not already, that are going to be outdoor and stuff, and that's great times to go, whether it's just a course or whether it's a shoot. Go shoot on the weekends or whenever. Like we have one that we go to quite a bit just to kind of keep, you get a hike around, shoot stuff, and be something a little more fun than just a target. So. All
right. But Sean's specific question was about deer season or deer in general. And I want to answer one of his questions. So he asked a question about like trail cameras. What do we do with our trail cameras this time of year? I can tell you right now, I'm not running as many cameras as I will be in, say, August.
Yep.
You know, one thing is, the other one that he asked was, are we already using our scents? And I believe that you could. I did it last year as early as I can't say I did it in May. I did not do that. But June 1,
Yep.
I had scrapes that I started opening, and I started having deer come into those scrapes. Now they're not going crazy, they're not but they're sniffing it, they're licking it, they're making sure that they knew what was going on. So it was
staying in touch.
Yeah,
with each other.
absolutely. Especially if you've got one of those scrapes that you know is going to be that community scrape where they're going to start coming back to. You could.
I know during July you had them out.
Oh, for sure. I know I did in June.
Yeah.
I wrote it down. I
It's
kept a
incredible
log
to me.
last
The
year.
more you pay attention and the more you listen, like even if you just listen to stuff we're talking about, because the amount we talk about scents and scrapes and rubs and everything, that now when I was turkey hunting, or even when I was going shed hunting and things like that, seeing the amount of scrapes and everything that are you can see that they just scraped the living crap out of it today, and it's May, and it just goes to show right there that if you're paying attention, you find some of these certain ones. Those are really good ones to find, because if they're using it right then, it's probably they're using it
still
year
communicating.
round. And that's a great spot that would be a natural one that if they're keeping it open throughout the off season, like when they're not actually fired up, that they're going to be keeping that open probably year round.
However, last year was a big year for me to determine that going this early, meaning having a camera sitting on a scrape, having in May, June, maybe even early July, it also let me know that some deer were around, but not deer that I was going to get to hunt.
Yep.
I had several deer that were in. I was like, holy cow, look at this deer. I don't recognize, or a couple of them I did know. I'm like, oh, maybe he's moved over.
Yep.
As soon as he became hardhorn, it was gone time.
Depends.
I had two of them last year that I can think of. A deer we called, which one?
Cluster.
Cluster would be one, and then the other one is the Nomad that got killed.
Yeah, he was kind of doing that the whole time.
Yeah, but I'm just saying he was there and gone, there and gone, there and gone. And, I mean, I was seeing him 2 miles away from my camera.
Yeah.
Which was nuts. I've never.
Blade did the same thing.
Yeah, but I've never seen a deer.
Definitely pay attention to things like that, because you'll have ones that move away and you'll have ones that are moving in. Like I can think of only 2 or 3 that I was paying attention to last year that moved away completely. And then I knew that I had a couple others that showed up right at the end of summer that those were.
Yeah, it can work to your benefit
but
as well.
Some places you might have a farm that's the deer you're getting there, they have no reason to leave at all. And they may stay, or they are just there for that time of year and they're all going to leave. But,
so you got a couple cameras out.
Yeah, honestly, I keep 3 or 4 out all year.
Right.
Like I've had cameras out. I mean, I haven't.
So have you changed locations? You had yours out for turkey season.
Yeah, I had for turkeys. I changed locations.
And then what about for deer now?
I just put another one up, so I have 4 out right now, and I just put up another one that's back in an area that I know that they're in, but I also put a food block out.
That's what I was going to get at, is what can you do to kind of put these deer in front of your camera? I would definitely say that this time of year, more than anything, is we're on food.
Yep.
Or catching them going to and from the food, whatever that may be, whether that's a bean field, whether that's something. And I'm big on the greeniac blocks.
Yeah,
I like those because they're handy. You can drop them anywhere, and it puts them right there where you get a good video or good photo of who it is. You can see them well.
Yeah. For like the guys that I keep thinking of Devin, because he's asked me a couple times on places that you can't drive to or whatever else. Like on where I put that food block was just one of those little brick ones. Well, it was a buck brick, isn't that what it's called?
I think so.
I think that's what it's called. But I like to do, the reason I use those, one is because it's super easy for me to walk all the way in there and drop it right there. It lasts a little while and it doesn't make a huge hole or nothing. But I have the acorn and the apple ones specifically, because I think right now this next month or so, you have a really good time to have a reason for them to come to a food block. One, it's good for their growth of their antlers, and it's very healthy for them, especially with the different types of food. And if you are using some kind of block that has mineral in it, that's going to allow them to grow better.
Right.
But as well as, like, our corn hasn't grown yet, our beans haven't grown yet, they're sprouted, and there's some that are starting to, but if you give them something that's really, really easy, it's kind of like winter. when it's wintertime and you throw out a ton of bales, you're going to have every deer in the country there because if there's enough snow, they don't have food anywhere else. Well, they have food here, but like the acorn and the apple one are so different, and they're so different smelling that, like right now, I'll get tons. I'll go back and check that camera. It'll probably be full off of one little block.
Mineral is really a big one this time of year. If it's legal where you're doing it and you can do it, I would have it out because it's really going to help. It's going to benefit the bucks. Right now, they're in full growth mode.
It's going to benefit your does.
It's going to benefit the does that are
Especially
getting ready to have babies.
Yep.
And so they're going to seek out those nutrients that they need, and so a lot of the mineral blocks provide that. I particularly.
Do any of them have protein in them?
Some of them do.
Yeah,
Protein
a
Plus.
lot of the minerals do.
There's one called Protein Plus.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Antler King makes one.
Yeah.
The one that I really like though is the Lick Magic. It comes in a bucket and it's a powder. Because
how's it taste?
It does. It smells like
Pretty
you.
good.
You seem like you want to, but I've not done it.
Warren has put some interesting things in his mouth. So, that came out way worse than I anticipated. What I'm referring to tell everybody, Warren one time we were filming some stuff and said, if you guys dare me, we didn't even pay him. We didn't even offer him
No, it was
money.
for the. You're talking about
Yeah,
the deer
we were
turd?
doing some stupid video. He's like, if you use it on the show, I'll eat this deer turd.
We were acting ninja, remember?
Yes,
Like,
and he
squirrel
thought it was
senses.
funny to pick up a turd and smell it. He's like, I'll even taste it if you guys will use it.
Yeah.
No,
And he
everybody was trying to get me to do it. And
You
then I
did it
said I
on
would
your
do it. No,
own.
were they not, Dad? They were all. Everyone was telling me to do it.
I remember
'Cause
there
you were
was
the
a
only
lot of
one-
discussion.
You're the only one dumb
And-
enough to actually put a deer turd in your mouth.
My theory was I
It's gonna
figured
taste like grass.
I told him no. I figured a dry one wouldn't have any flavor, so I didn't think it'd be that big of a deal.
yes, and
You
yes,
know?
he actually went through. He's like, no, that
And
one's
I
too wet. That one's
specified
too
that.
wet.
Yes,
All
I
I-
said I wouldn't need a fresh one, but a dry one. I would do that because I didn't think there'd be any flavor in.
Yes, he did throw it in his mouth,
there-
but he did not eat it.
there
He
was
spit that
flavor.
sucker out
There-
real quick.
All I can tell you
It
is
tastes
that's
like
the
shit.
fastest dry heaves I've ever seen. The moment that he put it in,
I was actually kind of impressed you followed through on it.
I ain't no weenie.
so don't go around at this time of year tasting turds. It's not going to help you in this.
Why
deer
did we get
season.
on-
And
that?
the dry ones don't taste any better.
Right?
How do you know
In
if they
fact,
taste
the
any
wet
worse
ones
than the
might
one-
be better because they may be more close to grass form stuff.
Oh,
I don't know.
That's nasty.
that is so gross.
Or
I don't even
corn or
know why we
something.
started
I should
talking
have looked
about
for
that.
one with corn in it. Tastes like corn.
That's gross. Okay, so what we were talking about, we were talking about the Lick Magic, which is
Oh,
what
that's
the
right.
bucket that Antler King makes that you just dump it on
And
there.
Dad said it was really good, and I said,
It-
"Oh, how
it's-
did it taste?" Because it made it sound like he was licking
Yeah.
it. You
Right.
know,
It smells
That-
really good.
The antler aid has protein in it, I believe.
antler aid. I just
Don't
wonder,
quote me on
like,
that. but-
is mineral more integral for their antler growth or protein?
We need to get a biologist on here to tell us a little bit more. I mean,
I don't know the answer to that, but from what I have read, I don't believe like for you to go put on muscle mass, like protein overload, not necessarily overload. Like protein could play a big role in that. You know what I mean?
In the muscles repairing
Yes.
everything. Yeah, but
And
I
I
wonder,
don't
like, for
think
their
that-
body.
Well, maybe for their body, but I think as far as like a healthy antler growth, I don't know how much. I would imagine.
But if their body's in better shape, would their antlers grow better?
I don't know, Warren. From what I've
Anything
read, I
that
don't
you-
have the answer to that
anything
question.
that you can supplement out there that is helpful, I think is going to help the deer. Because obviously, if they come to it, then they're not finding that naturally.
I'm surprised, like, Way hasn't tried to get in the game. We'd be crushing with Antler King.
Okay.
Whatever. Yeah. Next thing I know,
Who used to have that logo of the jacked up deer?
I
Where
don't
he
know.
was just yoked. Remember
Yeah,
that?
Yeah, it was on the side of a trailer at the Iowa Deer Classic. I
Yeah, it was
remember.
actually a pretty good logo.
Yeah,
But the deer, have you seen that
it's
one?
huge.
Oh, this deer's roided out, like vein through the shoulder and everything. And like, it's actually,
Lord.
but they did a really, really good job. Like, whoever they paid to design it, like, it was really good.
Yeah, it was cool.
Anyways,
All right, so food would be number one as far. But now the other part of that, because I have more than 4 cameras out right now, and I'm probably going to take this weekend. Now that turkey season's over, I can put food out, and so I'll probably put some blocks out, and when I'm talking blocks, Grainiac blocks, and set them on a couple of farms. Though we have cattle, So I can't do that. So when I have situations like that, then I rely on what I believe is the food source of that time of year, and I'll put it on a trail as they come by.
Yeah.
And I will say that you don't get as many photos in that particular situation. However, sometimes you get the best quality photos. You find
also,
deer that
if you start finding the right deer too, they're probably going to be pretty habitual.
absolutely.
And you'll find you might not get as many pictures, but you're going to get the right ones.
Yeah, and
As opposed to what I hate doing. That's why one of the things I do actually really like about the Sense is I'm kind of narrowing down what I'm getting pictures of, because a lot of times I might get tons and tons and tons of videos or pictures of freaking does and fawns.
a doe and a fawn.
Which is great to watch for the first 15 videos, and then you get really tired of it.
Right.
So that's a downfall to food, but
So just keep that in mind, though, when you guys are setting your cameras, set the settings according to what you got it set on. Meaning, if I've got something sitting on a food block, I'm going to get a lot of pictures. So I don't want to take a picture every 10 seconds or 20 seconds. I want to take a picture every 2-3 minutes, because that doe is going to come in with her fawn
hang out.
and she's going to hang out for a while. So you want to limit the number of pictures. I do bursts on all mine where it's 3 or 4 photos at a time. Just trying to get one clear picture out of them. But if I'm on a trail, I'm probably going to have it on every 10 to 15, maybe 20 seconds tops, because I'm not expecting.
I'm also putting them on video. I use video for everything almost, but like food, I'm putting on pictures because I don't care to put a 180 gig card in there. You can't put it in that big enough card.
Card's full in no time.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that we definitely are doing as far as cameras go. It's about now. I would say probably not even really heavily till mid-June. Then I want to make sure, because I can start to tell who some of these bucks are going to be by mid-June. Warren's theory is July 4th is when you can really, and that may change according to where you live, but here in Iowa, we got pretty good antler growth by July 4th.
Yep. I go to Idaho tomorrow for a week, but when I get back, so it'll be like June. Well, I mean, it'll be end of May, but June, whatever, that's when all my cameras I have right now are probably all going to go out. But I will give you guys a fair warning for things that I will not repeat this year. If you are going to run cameras, whether it's 1 or 40 or 60, however many cameras you're running, there is a big difference. And you better pay attention to how, like, if farmers are in there all the time or if nobody's in there, because in the situation, like Dad, around his house, he's there enough. He can check those cameras, and you can check them frequently.
Every 3-4 days.
Yeah, heck, you could check them every day pretty much,
Probably.
and you're not going to hurt anything because they're used to hearing the trucks around. They're used to hearing us in the yard, mowing, doing whatever. Okay, but like I thought last year stupidly.
Yep, we need that vocab podcast.
Yeah, we do. I thought last year stupidly that if I'm in there frequently, even if I'm in there just once a week, it's not that big of a deal, or they'll get used to it at some point, because with me and the farmer being out there checking cows and stuff all the time, it wouldn't be a big deal. I learned going into the season, that was the first year I'd done it that frequently, was the worst season I've had as far as like the deer doing what I know that they're normally doing. So pay attention to that. Don't, like, if you have the majority of places, you're probably not going to want to go in all the time. So like this year, I'll probably end up having 15 to 20 cameras out, but I'll rotate. Part of why I'm out there so much is because I want to be out there. Like, right. I want something to do. I enjoy being outside.
Well, you know what he's going to tell you is put the cheater cams.
Oh, yeah.
And then you don't have to worry about it. You put cellular cameras.
I enjoy getting to go out, let Chris Doe run, me set cameras, set stands, whatever. I enjoy the work. So I like being out there. But a tip is you can rotate your stuff. So, like, if I'm going to have 15 cameras out, the ones in this section, I'll go check them this weekend, and I won't touch them for another 2-3 weeks.
Yep.
And then, if not longer. And then the next week, if I'm wanting to do what I normally want to do, is I want to be out there as much as possible, I'll rotate, and I'll go to a different section where it's not going to be the same deer kind of thing.
If I can, I will try to set cameras, too, where I can drive right to them and check them. Never get off and walk. If they, like, especially field edges, things like that, where I know the deer are going to walk them at night or whatever. But I definitely want to understand, what am I looking for? this time of year, primarily all we're trying to do is an inventory.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to see which way are they going, what are they doing. I'm just looking for who's here, who made it, who did I not see, who's going to make a big jump, that kind of thing at this time of year. That's all that we're really kind of doing.
Yep.
If you're going to try to get the deer used to you by technically kind of maybe training them or pressuring them to that amount, I don't know the best way to specify that, but how often do you think you need to be in there? Because I know how often I think you need to be in there.
Well, I think to start without just dropping a bomb on them, where you're there like every day kind of thing, I think you need to try to be starting to go out or be out there be present, loud, whatever, make it known that you're there at least 2 to 3 times a week. And then after that, once they actually start to get used to it, I'm like every day. Like they need to know if you want them to genuinely get used to you or have an idea that somebody's going to be in here all the time, they need to know that you're there dang near every day and they can still do their normal things, not have to run away or whatever because they know that you're just doing your stuff. But the logic of that or the ability for most people, I don't have the time to do that. I don't have the ability to go out and just hang out with my deer every day.
Yeah.
His is kind of nice because your
Ones
house
that are by my
sits
house, right.
in the center of where you hunt.
They built the house in the wrong spot, technically.
So, well,
I'm sure that's most people's standards. It was in too good of a deer area. You should have built your house there.
Well, he obviously wasn't a deer hunter. Because you can look at it and see it's on the edge of the cedars and everything about it says X marks the house.
Yeah.
And so I would have put the house up by the shop.
Yeah.
Well,
and save the deer hunting space.
A perfect example. He's doing something every day, and he's outside every day.
Even just pulling into your driveway.
I can literally stand. Me and Mom just the other day were sitting on the porch, and we have Christo and Dan out there, and she's laughing and Mom has a loud laugh, and there's 5-10 deer out in the field. They'll look at you and they'll be like, what's up? Now, granted, it's the time of year that they don't care as much either, but it'll get to be time of season, and they may walk off into the woods if we're out being obnoxious in the yard or something. But they're pretty well used to being not to the point of you can walk up and pet his deer. Don't get us confused with that.
No.
But the point of they're not going to go run a mile or be out of there for the next 4 or 5 days because they got busted, which is what you run into in places where they never see anybody or anything at all. You go in there and you bust some deer. You could be looking at maybe they come back that afternoon or whatever, but they might be gone a couple days.
Okay, so
there was I just saw a video on Facebook of a dude that integrated himself into a mule deer herd.
The same guy did it with turkeys.
Oh, is it that guy that had? I think it was. So
I
that was the
sent you
same
that video,
guy,
didn't I?
Yeah, I didn't realize it was the same guy that did the mule deer thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was saying it took him every day,
till they got used
a large portion of the day.
Yeah, and every
walking
day,
around these deer until they finally let him get closer and closer and closer, and then they
took one of them, didn't it? Didn't he say?
I don't know. I can't
one of
remember
the does finally was like, "Okay, I think that you're trustworthy," and came up to him, and then the rest of them were like, "Oh, okay."
Could you imagine, during deer season, he just waits for that doe to come and heat, and then throttles a buck?
Oh my gosh!
What do you think?
She's like, he goes out there, "Hey, Susie, how you doing today?" And here comes the buck right behind her.
Well, what do you think that would do to their mentality if that is? So he gets them all used to it, and then fall rolls around, and he shoots Bob, the big buck. Now would they all be like, I can't believe we fell for that?
No, the doe is either he got real close with is either gonna be extremely appreciative of him saving her from bad things, or she's gonna hate him. Like, why'd you just shoot my boy? But
it depends if she's a hoe or not.
Yeah.
I don't know how on these podcasts.
Did I say that? I meant doe.
That was good. That's funny.
A doe hoe.
Is this doe a hoe?
All right. So the other part of, I think, Sean's question was not necessarily, so that's a little bit about cameras and food and trying to just get a little bit of an inventory. But as far as stands go, like this time of year, we hanging any stands? Would you do it right now?
Those are for the trails.
Okay.
What's that?
That was good.
What did he say?
You wouldn't understand. You're
Okay.
old.
No. I said these does are for the trails.
I don't know what that means.
Exactly.
Okay.
Anyways.
So let's talk about stand location.
Yes.
He's like way off in La La Land.
Yeah,
today.
because he doesn't touch anything until the week before season.
I would say if I was going to hang stands, I'd be doing it now, opposed to. I don't like doing stuff in June
I
and
hate
July
it.
because it's too flipping hot.
I hate doing it then too, but that's the time to do it. And I don't. I'll go do.
It's a little
whatever.
tough to hang stands. I guess it's not tough to hang stands this time of year if you have a very good intel from last year or over the winter on where you want to put a stand.
That's what I was
But-
just about to say.
But one of the things that we're doing is managing our deer. So a lot of times I don't know whether I got a deer that is going to be of age on a property until a certain period of time. I got to make sure that there is someone there. Now there's some places right now that I could say I could go put a stand in and be ready.
So
know?
that is where I've given people Onyx tips during shed season, because shed season, if you shed hunt, you're walking over everything, absolutely everything that you normally hunt. And so me and Warren did it multiple times where we're walking around, even on pieces that we hadn't hunted yet, that we were just shed hunting. And I have a different color on my pin, and like I'll mark what it is, but I'll mark like here is a huge scrape, or
Right.
here is like this could be a good trail for a stand or something like that. So that I know now. Because the other thing you got to pay attention to is like I have a really good idea. Even when I'm hunting during deer season, I'll do the same thing, because I can either go do that during season and move stuff like when I can, or I'm banking on next year. Yeah, I could really use a stand over there or something like that, so that now I can go do that. But you got to pay attention to don't overcut things as
Yeah.
far as like your shooting lanes, because you bank on, I mean, you depends on what time your season opens, but like here we got like a week or two of pretty thick, if not a little bit more actually, but of thick
But full
Leaves and
foliage
everything.
as opposed to
nothing.
late October,
Yeah.
it can change
So
dramatically.
if you cut your shooting lanes to what it looks like during the summer, be ready, because you're going to be looking like a sore thumb stuck up there bare on a telephone pole.
like
so
a turd in a punch bowl.
Yeah, that. So
I wonder
yeah.
who was the first person to shit in the punch bowl that made people
Warren,
know that.
I don't know.
you were making this going to have the little E next to it.
But that's no different than most of them.
That's valid.
Because
So
you got to
that's-
think about that. Who put the first turd in the punch bowl to make that saying?
I don't even
I
have a
don't know.
clever comment to come back.
Someone-
Because someone had to do it.
Or they just thought of it. Thought that, boy,
There's
that
no
turd,
way
that
they just
turd in a punch
no,
bowl would
somebody took a turd and put it in a punch bowl. There's no way in the
did
world.
they take a turd and they put it in the punch bowl, or did they turd into the punch bowl?
I realized how I said that, and I would imagine that they just. This is like a Steve Stifler
Which came
situation where he
first?
poops in the cooler when he steals the guy's jet skis.
What?
Yeah, it's American Pie.
Yeah, I know Stifler.
He wants to steal these frat guys' jet skis. So he swims under the water, ties a rope onto their jet skis, then sneaks around with his rope, ties it to his truck, and then he's like, "Oh, that's not good enough." So while they're not paying attention, he opens up their cooler of beer and takes a dump in it. And then he walks away. They go to get another beer. He grabs a turd, freaks out, and then Stifler takes off with his truck and pulls his jet skis through the woods.
I didn't see that one. I don't think I missed much.
So I'd say there's your person that probably discovered poop in a punch bowl.
Now I want to
You
go
guys
watch
ain't right.
role models.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
What were some of his?
Anyways,
Let's get back to our questions.
yeah, sorry guys, we're on one today. I don't know what
Yeah.
it is, but
Like I said, probably not mock scrapes or anything like that till mid-June. I mean, there's
you're
just
not gonna hurt.
you can
You're not gonna
start
hurt
now,
it to go now either.
But my point is you can't tell who it is or what they're doing. You're just getting them ready. You're getting
you
habituated
could benefit
for it.
yourself though, is if you don't have an area where there's a scrape, but you know that there's deer in the area, to start a really big one, or even just start it some in hopes that they'll pick up on it, and that way you know that you got one, and that they're gonna start, that they're used to using it and frequently using it.
Yep. And don't expect it, like they're not going to go crazy on it, but just one or two bucks start coming, and then all of a sudden a few does show up, another buck shows up, and then they stop in once in a while. But you end up with a video or a photo of a buck that you might not know that he's there.
Yep.
I mean, so, and I would say this, your scrapes are going to be more likely to give you that piece of advice or piece of information that you need as opposed, I find they're better than food. A lot of my bigger bucks don't want to come to a food block, don't want to come to a food. Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't, but it doesn't seem like any of them like stay away from a scrape.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
at the same time, I prefer doing the scrapes once they are using them more frequently, because I don't have to deal with sifting through as many photos, because
For sure.
I'll get does, I'll get fawns, I'll get bucks, all sorts of things on my scrapes, but the majority of them are the bucks.
So I think I can't remember who you said, whether Devin was or someone asked the question about whether we think food plots are worth it.
I think it was both of them, actually.
Well, I'm
They
going to
both
tell you,
asked.
as of today, they better be, because I just finished putting 7 acres worth of food plots in.
Yeah.
And here's the thing about that is I try to put food plots in so that we have food there all year long. So today I'm planting perennials, something that will continue to come back. I'm doing that for multiple reasons. One, so that the deer have a food source. Number two, keep the weeds down. Number three, I'm trying to put some nutrition back into the ground so that I can come back and put my annuals in and not have to spray for weeds and not have to put down any more.
That's going to be the first time, like at your 80, that you have.
I've ever done that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be really good down there,
I hope so.
because I think that it's going to keep a lot of the weeds out of there, and it'll be an actual lush food plot. Not
And then we'll just come right in and
Yeah.
put our annual stuff right over top of it. And so what we did today was we planted trophy clover by Antler King. That's what I'm putting in all those plots right now. Clover is what's going to put nitrogen back in the ground. I did have to, but before I did that, I put potash on the ground to help give some nutrition to the clover itself. So there's different things you'll want to definitely do, your pH test and stuff like that. But then what will happen is, hopefully, if we get the rain, and the ground was perfect today.
Yeah,
it
was really good.
I mean, it was some moisture still there and everything. So I had one field that was really hard.
Yeah.
That was dry. That was the last one I just did.
It'll be
But
all right, though.
it should be.
Because
And
we're supposed to be getting rain, aren't
yeah,
we?
we're supposed to get rain tonight.
So it depends. Did you get a tick on you?
I thought so. It's not. Just
Your
dirt.
food plots, like, the question, I think, for both of them was,
Are they
worth it? What are you using? Are they not worth it? I think that they are very lucrative if you can use them in the right forms, in the right food, I guess. Because
I think it depends.
Depends
too.
on the area.
Yeah,
Some of them, like I
there's some of
think
them
that
that's
the-
pointless.
yeah, I think those quarter-acre plots and stuff that we used to do, I don't think there's any point in doing that, because I think it might kind of stop them going by, but no deer are deliberately coming to that. We're like the one at the 80, those deer are they are
coming there.
going to that food source.
There's a difference, though, between trying to get them to stay there because they have enough food, as opposed to knowing that there's food there they can come to. Because, like, I didn't really plan it, didn't have to do much, but I just put in like quarter acre, not anticipating them coming to it a ton, not anticipating like really anything of consistency with it, besides the fact of, instead of the deer having to go this way in that area, because I know they bed right there, I put that right next to their bedding where I can actually hunt it still, in hopes that maybe they'll, whether they're there midday or whether they're there just leaving and stuff, that they have a reason to come that way as opposed to going a different way. Because no matter what way they go, they can find food anywhere. But if I can coax them to go, at least narrow them down a little bit, that's going to help me a ton, because even in that spot, that's one of the ones I've told you that it's the hardest one for me to hunt, because the wind is so difficult to get proper, where it's actually blowing consistently, whether we have 15 or 20 mile an hour winds or not. So now if I can at least bank on where the deer are going to come from, as opposed to them coming from everywhere, that's going to help me. And so I don't bank on, like, that quarter acre plot, I do not bank on it pulling deer or anything. I'm simply putting it there for the deer that I know are already existing in that spot, to maybe give them a reason to come over.
I would say that the two plots that we have that draw deer to feed, it would be the one at the 80 that you just talked about, and then the one we call the north plot
At your house.
at the house.
Yep.
And that,
See, I disagree with you. I think that whole entire section.
yeah,
does.
but that plot they're coming to, meaning you can sit on there and know they're going to enter from this corner or that corner or whatever.
But you've also given them the food now that can hold them
Yes.
year round with the alfalfa and everything. That's what,
Not
5 acres,
It
6
doesn't hold
acres.
them. There's not enough there.
There's a ton.
That's why they all go to the neighbors
because it's corn.
Yeah, in
They have more
I
food.
don't have the right food for dead winter.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
But he has enough there where that's bigger than the 80 food plot.
Those plots we used to have at those southern farms.
Yep.
Pointless.
Well, there they were pointless. One, they never really came in very well. Number two, they were right on the edge of a cornfield / bean field, whatever he was planting there. So there was already a major food source there. For that guy that's out there that doesn't, maybe he's hunting hardwoods or something like that, man, putting something fresh green in there, and it may only be a 1/4 acre. Again, like Easton was saying, they're not coming to that food plot to spend 2 hours there, but would they swing over there and grab a bite to eat before they head on to somewhere else?
Why not try and find a spot, though, that you could make it 3/4 of an acre?
Well, that'd be great. I'm just saying when you can't.
Like right now, I wouldn't even have a spot on that piece. That's the first one that I've gotten a lease for work, basically. But I don't have any way to, like, that 1/4 acre right there is the biggest section I'm going to get. I
just don't know that there's
no
be
food
enough there to be able to get them to do anything. I think they may. Plus, I think they might, if they're going to actually come to it, I think they're going to ruin it. I mean, they're going to eat it all. It depends.
So what I had put in was, what the heck was it? It was a new one that they came out with, the no-till.
Honey hole.
No.
Grade 8.
No.
Southern
it's
greens.
It's not the ones that you use. It's a mixture. I can't remember exactly what it's called. What I used, though, was it's from Antler King as well, but it's a no-till. Like, you can till it in if you want, or if you're able to. Otherwise, you can just hand spread it, and it's the most simple kind to have. But it's a blend, so they have clover,
trophy clover.
They have some brassicas in it. No,
fall, winter, spring food plot blend. Lights out. Grade 8.
No,
the grade 8 is.
I have the bag in my truck. I should grab it, but so like for this one, I knew that I could basically. Sorry.
Slam dunk.
It might be it. Go back up. Maybe it is the trophy. No, I think it's a slam dunk one. I don't know. I'll have to check. But anyways, where was I at?
I don't know.
Yeah, me either.
I think I think we should save getting too deep into podcast and to a whole podcast on food plots.
Well, I agree. We're just talking about what's the benefit
we're just talking about like whether it's beneficial, and my answer would be yes. And depending on your situation, it's going to be more beneficial other times than not.
I mean, still have to disagree with Warren though,
because
no
like sweat, no till plot mix.
That one, yep. That's a newer one, but that is a great place for. I can't till anything in there. I don't have anywhere that's big enough for me. Like, again, I was not banking on holding deer, but the reason I disagree with what you were saying on that is we know year round that those deer have massive bedding corridor there and all the time, and for whatever reason they like to bed in it all year round, but there's no food within, I don't know, a multiple 100 yards. Like they come to it to live in it, but then they go any direction they go, they're going to find food, but they have to go a hot minute to find it. And so when they want to spend that much time, clearly that they want to spend a lot of time there for whatever reason, that they feel safe there and everything. If you can give them more reason to stand or to stay there, because I can't hunt any of the food. I can't hunt any of the food sources they are going to, so it's catching them to or from is all it is. Now, if I can give them a reason to at least hang out longer until they go out at night or whatever to the big food plot, or not food plots,
you're
fields
creating
and stuff,
a staging area.
I 100% think that would make a difference. Now, you might be completely right. I might go in there, and one, it might not come up. Two, it might not do anything. But the issue with like what you're saying, I really don't think that they're going to ruin it, because I don't think it's going to be all that great. For the point of that, there's clover in it, and then there's brassicas as well. And so I think that they might destroy the clover and stuff in there, but I really think that as long as some of the brassicas and stuff are left in there, that's going to be great come season for that reason, because they get better. They start hitting brassicas a heck of a lot more once it starts getting cold.
That'll be a good one just to check and see. So we'll keep it. You'll have to go in there. You got a camera on that one or no?
Yep, I did that, and then I also put a food block and a camera right there for now.
Well, my problem is that once I put my food plots in, then I want to go watch them. I want to go see them grow.
You're the one that paints the wall and waits for it to dry.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I already called Shane, asked him if he wanted to go over and watch my plot tonight.
I'm going to call Dad one of these nights.
I guarantee he's probably watching his.
He is. He's as bad as I am. He's like, mine's already started to germinate because he got his stuff in before all this rain.
They're going to freaking be sitting there with lawn chairs. Dad's going to have a Pepsi and Oreos. Oh,
yeah.
I think. Oh, nope, it's just a bug.
Yeah.
Oh, there's one.
No, it's all good. Did we answer everyone's questions? I think
that's a real
part?
general, like what they were asking as far as what we're doing. That's about what we're doing right now, and we're going to get into a lot more. We need to get a biologist, like what Warren is asking for the mineral stuff, but also we're going to have one of our good buddies, Robbie, with Antler King at some point. He's going to come do a food plot. Like, we'll go into some of this stuff because the amount of people that are asking about food plots.
And when it comes to clover, I don't think there's anybody out there that knows as much about his forte is clover.
Yep.
I mean, not that he doesn't know about everything else as well, but, man, I've seen that guy grow a clover plot like I've never seen before.
Just to give somebody a reference, because if those guys are asking, I would imagine that they're probably in a position where they might be able to plant something. Just give us two things that you would suggest if you're limited, but you can plant a few things. 2 things you could plant right now that would be beneficial.
Clover and alfalfa.
Yep. Those are actually the 2 that I was thinking in my head.
And Antler King makes it was new, been out for a year or two, Booner Buffet, and you put that stuff in and it comes back year after year. And I would tell you that
one's both, isn't it?
It is, and I'm 2 years in on it, and we're haying that.
Yep.
And it looks freaking fantastic this year. It's like 1.5 feet tall already at the house. It's over my knee.
Yeah, if you guys are like anything like me, and you are interested in food plots, but you don't have you have permission or you don't have the ability to do anything with the land, or if you can get a landowner, a lot of times something like that, like what I did, my landowner doesn't care because I don't have to till nothing up. I don't have to take anything out, anything like that. That's a bad one.
Yeah, nice.
Good job.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
I'm actually really impressed.
This podcast
that was some Bruce Lee shit.
Easton just whacked a cloth moth in flight in one swat. And
now
cloth moths would attack my
Now
mouse.
I'm going to continue my point, too, because I didn't forget it.
Doesn't he get you with chopsticks?
He did. That was weird.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have the ability, they will let you. Would you guys shut up for 2 seconds?
From my hand.
Oh, my gosh.
See, now,
as quick as you can.
Huh? No, you won't know who that one is. That was Grasshopper.
The Karate Kid?
No, before the Karate Kid even, there was a karate show on. David Carradine played the dude.
Gosh.
And he said, as quickly as you can, snatch this pebble from my hand.
Just like that?
Yeah, something like that. I think I'm probably really, really close.
Why are you getting, you're just feeling him.
Oh, I'm enjoying this.
Okay.
Yeah,
you have any other impersonations?
I do.
Anyways.
What else you got?
I can't do them on air.
Okay, for anybody that my point 7 minutes ago that I started,
if you know
have
the
ability,
what are you doing? Did you just hit that guy? What you doing? You can't do that in the store.
That's the 7-Eleven impression.
Did you know they race camels in Saudi Arabia?
Warren,
they do.
why we do? This is gonna be one of the randomest podcasts any of them
won by a
ever
hump.
listened to.
What happens if your camel's got double humps?
That's what I was gonna say.
That's cheating.
Should be twice as fast. At least there's a place to ride then. All right, finish your point. I think we're about ready to wrap this up.
If you have the ability to put something small in, and it's not very easy for you to get to your food plots often, think of something like clover, alfalfa, perennials. And we're talking about perennials that come back on their own year after year. You may have to do like a little spraying or something like that of weeds and stuff, but if it comes up very well, you won't have to. So small places or even big food plots and stuff that you don't want to have to go into every year, perennials. It's a great option.
Oh, they can be super. And clover's just like across the board, works everywhere.
Yep.
All right, he's getting ready to go on another tangent, so I'm going to close this thing before he does. Yeah, which is bad. That's really bad. I have to say, though, you made a comment, and he didn't pick up on it about, if you just need a place to put something small in. And I was waiting for him.
I didn't even think of it that way either. Man, I've had all sorts of things come out wrong today.
Right?
Well, that came out wrong in itself.
Look at these jockeys.
Okay, we have to get off this podcast.
You look at that and you tell me why that camel's running fast.
It looks like one of those teenage the Power Ranger.
Teenage Mutant Ninjas.
No, the Power Ranger.
All right. So thank you guys for tuning in to the Raised Hunting Podcast. I should start apologizing at the beginning of these so that it just covers everything that might be said during this.
You were in on it.
Nick's got his work cut out for him on this one. He's got some stuff to cut out. So
I don't think there's anything to cut out.
I'm just going to ask you about 7-Eleven.
Continue
you
to
got part of it.
Send in your comments. Please do the reviews. We sure appreciate it, and leave those because it helps boost the ratings. Ratings were what make more people there. We get to reach more people. So, but the other one is like these guys have sent in topics. Send in your topics, man, because we sure appreciate it. We enjoy doing it, and we will probably try to do a shout out if you'd send in a topic. So, all right. Well, it's that time of year. The big one I'm going to ask a favor of is start taking pictures or video of velvet deer and send them in. Send us a picture if you found a fawn. Don't go pick it up, but just take a picture of it. But it's that time of year, and we love seeing what people are doing outdoors. So thanks again, guys. Appreciate you. This is the Raised Hunting Podcast signing off.